Welcome to our Balkans travel guide, where we take you on an unforgettable 12-day Balkans road trip filled with stunning landscapes, rich history, and diverse cultures across this fascinating region. If you're planning a Balkan trip, this video has everything you need to know before visiting, from border tips to hidden gems across multiple countries. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video, and make sure to subscribe to my channel, and if you need more information, feel free to ask me as a comment below. We began our Balkans adventure by flying from Cyprus to Skopje via Istanbul, landing at Skopje International Airport ready to explore. Right at the airport, we rented a car for 12 days at a total cost of €400, which included all insurance and cross-border documents essential for a Balkan road trip. Our accommodation for the first 2 nights was Villa Nina Hotel, centrally located in Skopje, where we stayed as 3 people for €110. Skopje's old town greeted us with cobbled streets and centuries of history, beginning at the Ottoman-era Old Bazaar, one of the largest in the Balkans. Nearby, Beit Pazar Market and its gate offered a taste of local life, vibrant, chaotic, and full of traditional foods and crafts. We continued to the Murat Pasha Mosque and the neighboring Çifte Hamam, now functioning as a contemporary art gallery, with an entrance fee of around €2. Next came Karpan Inn, Arasta Mosque, Bezistan Covered Market, and the beautifully preserved Mustafa Pasha Mosque, each echoing Skopje's Ottoman past. The Church of the Ascension of Jesus, a peaceful Orthodox gem, stood just below the walls of the iconic Skopje fortress, which offered free panoramic views over the city. We also visited the National Gallery of Macedonia, housed in the Davut Pasha Hammam, with an entrance fee of €2. The nearby Orthodox Church of St. Demetrius and the elegant fountains of Philip II and Olympia added a royal touch to the main square. Continuing on foot, we reached the stone bridge spanning the Vardar River, connecting the Ottoman Old Town to the modern city. Macedonia Square was alive with people, street musicians, and the towering warrior on a horse monument, a central landmark in Skopje. We passed by the Gate Macedonia, Ristich Palace, and the Mother Teresa Memorial House, which is free to enter and offers insight into her early life. To cap off the evening, we enjoyed a traditional Macedonian night, full of live folk music, grilled meats, and rich local wine, an unforgettable introduction to the region. After dinner, we strolled through the buzzing streets lined with bars, soaking up Skopje's surprisingly vibrant nightlife before heading back to our hotel. On day 2, we left Skopje early in the morning and drove roughly 90 kilometers, about 1 hour and 40 minutes, crossing the border into Kosovo for a full-day trip to Pristina. We parked our car in a central location, making it easy to explore the capital of Kosovo entirely on foot. Our walking route began at the Great Mosque and continued through the Çarşısı Mosque and Yasha Pasha Mosque, each reflecting layers of Ottoman heritage. Next, we climbed the steps of the clock tower and visited the nearby Kosovo Museum, where entrance cost around €2 and offered powerful exhibits on the country's turbulent history. We passed through the Old Bazaar and lively Green Market, then wandered down Mother Teresa Boulevard toward the Skanderberg Square and statue. The city streets are dotted with monuments, from Ibrahim Rugova's statue to the Natokvar Memorial and the symbolic newborn monument, a must-see in Pristina. We also admired the brutalist architecture of the National Library of Kosovo and paused briefly at the serene Cathedral of St. Mother Teresa. From Edit Durham Square to the open-air Zahir Payaziti Amphitheatre, Pristina felt dynamic and filled with energy from its youthful population. To wrap up the day, we dined at Libunir Restaurant, a beautiful spot serving traditional Kosovan cuisine like flija and tave kosi, for around €15 per person. After a long yet rewarding day, we returned to Skopje, completing the loop and resting up for another journey deeper into the Balkans. On day 3, we started our journey early in the morning, heading southwest from Skopje to Ohrid, with a total driving time of around 3.5 hours, but we made some scenic stops along the way. Our first stop was the stunning Matka Canyon, just 30 minutes outside Skopje, where we took an hour-long break to enjoy the canyon views and turquoise waters. Kayaking and boat rides are available here, usually costing around €5 to €8. Next, we drove about 1.5 hours to Mavrovo National Park, a peaceful mountain escape where we had a quick nature break and admired the views of Lake Mavrovo and the half-submerged church. Continuing another hour southwest, we arrived in Struga, a charming town on the banks of the Black Drin River, where we enjoyed a relaxed lunch at a canal-side restaurant for about €10 per person. After lunch, we visited the Mosque of Ali Pasha before making our final 15-minute drive to the heart of Ohrid. The old town of Ohrid welcomed us with its stone alleys and Ottoman houses, beginning with the vibrant Ohrid Bazaar and the beautiful lake promenade with old swimming court. We passed through the historic lower gate and visited the National Workshop for Handmade Paper, where entrance is free and you can see the ancient Gutenberg press in action. The Robevi family house, now a museum, offered insight into local life through the centuries, with a €1.5 entrance fee. We also visited the Church of the Virgin Mary Parableptos and climbed up to Samuel's Fortress, which offers sweeping views over the city and lake. Entrance here is €2. From there, we explored the ancient theatre of Ohrid and the Plaushnik Archaeological Park, where you can see layers of early Christian history for around €2. The iconic Church of St. John at Karnao, perched above the water, gave us the perfect sunset spot, followed by a stroll along Ohrid Ves boardwalk past Karnao Beach. We wrapped up the day by checking into Casa Germanov, a charming guest house in the old town where we stayed for €60 per night for 3 people. Ohrid's peaceful vibe and lakeside charm made this one of the most magical stops of our Balkan journey so far. Day 4 began with our road trip continuing south from Ohrid toward the Albanian border, with scenic stops along Lake Ohrid's eastern shore. First, we visited Turpaca village and Gradište beach, 2 peaceful lakeside spots perfect for a quick swim and panoramic photos. Next, we stopped at the Bay of Bones Museum, a reconstructed prehistoric settlement on stilts over the water. The entrance fee is about €2. Just a short drive further, we explored the monastery of St. Norm, a serene Orthodox site where peacocks roam freely. The entrance fee here is €1. Crossing into Albania, we made our way toward Kotor and enjoyed a traditional village lunch near the city, with chicken stew in breed, mushrooms, salad and beef for around €10 per person. After a long drive of nearly 4 hours from the border, we arrived in Gjirokaster, one of Albania's most picturesque UNESCO-listed towns. We explored Gjirokaster Castle with its panoramic views and military museum. Entry costs €3, and it's well worth it for the history and scenery. Just next to it, the clock tower stands tall, followed by a walk through the cobblestone Gjirokaster Old Bazaar. We visited Skendeli House and Zekate House, 2 historic Ottoman mansions, each with entrance fees of about €2, where guides explained family traditions and architectural secrets. The Ethnographic Museum, located in Enver Hoxha's former home, offered more cultural insights for another €2. We also passed by the Bazaar Mosque and explored the eerie Cold War tunnel. Then we had a brief stop at the arched Ali Pasha's Bridge and then continuing to the Blue Eye Spring Suri Kalta, which has a €1 entrance fee. By evening, we arrived in Saranda for a short seaside break for sipping a coffee. Then reached our final stop in Ksamil, where we checked into Ventus Hotel for just €95 for 2 nights for 3 people. We ended the night in style with fresh seafood in the town center, followed by cocktails by the sea, soaking in the relaxed Mediterranean vibes after a long day on the road. On day 5, we kicked off our morning bright and early with a beach-hopping adventure across Ksamil's stunning coastline. We started at the main Ksamil beach, known for its powdery white sand and crystal-clear waters, followed by a relaxing swim at Bora Bora Beach just a short walk away. Not far from there, we visited the quirky Hand of Ksamil sculpture, perfect for unique photos with the Ionian Sea in the background. Next, we rented a paddleboat for around €5 and explored the famous Ksamil Islands just offshore, each offering its own slice of paradise. Later, we drove 10 minutes to Pulabadher Beach, a quiet cove nestled between cliffs, and then made a final beach stop at Monastery Beach near the ruins of St. George's Monastery. In the afternoon, we headed 15 minutes south to explore Butrint National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Albania's greatest archaeological treasures. The park's entrance fee is €5 and includes access to the impressive Butrint Ancient Theatre, Roman baths, and temples dating back over 2 millennia. We passed through the Lion Gate and wandered along the boardwalk that skirts Lake Butrint and the Vivari Channel. To finish the historical journey, we took a short drive to visit Ali Pasha Castle, located across the water, reachable via a 10-minute boat ride that costs about €3. The contrast between ancient ruins and untouched nature made this one of the most captivating experiences of our Balkan trip. Back in Ksamil by evening, we indulged in traditional Albanian cuisine at a cozy local restaurant, fresh fish, grilled vegetables, and raki for around €15 per person. After a day filled with beaches and history, we ended the night watching the sun dip into the Ionian Sea, feeling completely recharged. Day 6 began with an early departure from Ksamil as we set off on a scenic coastal drive north toward Albania's capital, Tirana. Our first stop was Lukurici Castle, just above Saranda, where we soaked in panoramic views of the coastline. There's no entrance fee, and the hilltop view is breathtaking. We continued along the Albanian Riviera with short visits to the ruins of Borsh Castle and a peaceful walk along Borsh Beach. Then came Porto Palermo, home to Ali Pasha's fortress by the sea. Entrance here is €2 and absolutely worth it for the views and historical atmosphere. A beat further up, we reached Gjipe Beach, a hidden gem nestled between cliffs, accessible after a 30-minute hike or short off-road drive. Driving through the dramatic Logara Pass was a highlight in itself, with winding mountain roads offering views over the Ionian and Adriatic coastlines. After about 6 hours total driving time with all our stops, we reached Durrës for a quick stroll along the seaside promenade before heading inland to Tirana. In Tirana, we enjoyed a hearty traditional Albanian lunch for around €12 per person with cevapi, fresh salads, and bread. We explored the heart of the capital starting at Tirana Castle, followed by a walk down Shtitoja Murat Toptani, a lively pedestrian street. Landmarks like the Cloud Sculpture, Rinia Park, and the Grand Government buildings led us to the Clock Tower and the historic Etembe Mosque. At Skanderberg Square, we visited the National Historical Museum. Entrance is €3, and admired the Palace of Culture and the Friendship Monument. After strolling through the Old Bazaar area, we ended our day by heading about 1.5 hours north to Leisure for a peaceful overnight stay. There, we checked into Rambule Resort on the lakeside, where we stayed for €60 for 3 people, an ideal retreat after a packed day of coastal and city discoveries. We started day 7 with an early morning drive through the Albanian Alps toward the magical Shala River, known as the Thailand of Albania. After a 2.5-hour journey, we reached the boat dock and took a scenic river tour through emerald waters and towering cliffs. Boat rides typically cost around €15 to €20 per person. Following this unforgettable nature escape, we crossed the border from Albania into Montenegro, ready for a new chapter of our Balkan journey. Our first Montenegrin stop was the quiet beaches of Utjeha, perfect for a short leg stretch and some peaceful moments by the Adriatic Sea. We continued north with a coffee break at Marina in Bar City, enjoying seaside views before heading to Sutomor for a traditional lunch that cost us around €10 each. Driving along the Adriatic coast, we made quick stops at Chani and the beautiful Kraljetina Beach, known as the Queen's Beach for its hidden, royal vibe. After visiting Petrovac Beach and the nearby Lučice Beach, we flew our drone over Kartic Nature Park and the tiny island chapel of St. Nedjelja to capture breathtaking coastal views. Our route continued with photo stops at Rejovici Monastery and the pristine Drobni Pjesak Beach, both offering stunning coastal scenery. We also passed by the rugged red sands of Crvena Glavica and the dramatic cliffs of Crvena Stijina beaches before reaching one of Montenegro's most iconic sites. By late afternoon, we arrived at Sveti Stefan, the postcard-perfect island hotel where we took time for photo and video shoots with this legendary backdrop. Just 15 minutes north, we rolled into Budva and checked into a Tina hotel, where we paid €90 for 3 people for a night, great value in this lively resort town. After settling in, we headed out for an evening walk along Budva's glowing waterfront, gradually making our way toward the old town. The stone walls, narrow alleys, and sea breeze gave the evening a romantic and cinematic feeling. We wrapped up the day with dinner at Fisherman's Pub right by the sea, enjoying fresh seafood and local wine for around €18 per person. With tired legs but full hearts, we ended the night watching the lights reflect off the Adriatic, already dreaming of what tomorrow would bring. On day 8, we started early with a peaceful morning walk into Budva Old Town, one of the oldest settlements on the Adriatic coast. We explored the Citadel Fortress, which offers breathtaking views over the sea and costs €3.5 to enter. Just around the corner, we visited 3 beautiful churches like St. John the Baptist, the Holy Trinity, and Santa Maria in Punta, each showcasing centuries of coastal faith and tradition. Inside the museum of the city of Budva, with a €2 entrance fee, we learned about the town's rich past stretching back to Roman times. Afterward, we passed Budva Marina Bay and Plaža Richardova Glava before enjoying a slow walk through the shady Budva city park. Next, we hopped into our car and began our beach tour, starting with Mogren Beach, then Slovenska Beach, and looping through Bečići, Pržno, Queen's Beach, and the stunning Miločer Beach. Each stop offered its own charm, some lively, some remote, but all framed by the shimmering Adriatic. We continued our journey with a short stop in Tivat for a scenic coffee break by the marina, then headed another 30 minutes north to Kotor. In Kotor, we explored the marina, the Nikola Djurkovic Cultural Center, and wandered through the bustling food market. Within the fortified old town, we admired the famous clock tower, St. Luke's Church, and the quirky Cats Museum. Entry there was just €1. We also stepped into the Kotor Maritime Museum for €4, and passed several other historic landmarks like St. Michael's and St. Nicholas churches, and the Church of St. Mary Collegiate. Leaving Kotor behind, we drove 20 minutes to the Baroque town of Perist, where we took a short walk to capture breathtaking views of Our Lady of the Rock and St. George Monastery from the bayfront. Crossing into Bosnia and Herzegovina, we made a countryside stop in Grahovac for a late village-style lunch, grilled meats and homemade cottage cheese salad for around €10 per person. Later, we stopped at Bilica Lake, a peaceful reservoir straddling the Bosnia-Montenegro border, ideal for drone shots and reflection photos. By early evening, we arrived in Mostar and took a quick walk through the old town, capturing stunning blue hour shots around the iconic Stari Most Bridge. We ended our long and beautiful day with a hearty dinner of Balkan specialties like cevapi, peksimati, pljeskavica, and stuffed chicken for around €15 each. Finally, we checked into Villa Salvia, where we paid €74 for one night for two people, which is a cozy stay after a day filled with beauty, culture, and unforgettable coastal scenes. On day 9, we woke up early in Mostar and started the morning by strolling through the enchanting cobblestone streets of the old town. We crossed the iconic Stari Most, the old bridge of Mostar, and admired its reflection in the Neretva River, which is truly one of the most photographed spots in the Balkans. Along the old bazaar of Kujundjaluk, we explored local crafts before visiting the Koski Mehmed Pasha Mosque, which offers rooftop views over the bridge for a €3 entrance fee. Nearby, we stopped at the Musée Stari Most, Harlebia Tower, and the Mostar Old Bridge photo point to learn more about the bridge's war-torn history, with entrance to the museum costs €5. We also visited Nezir Agana Jamia and the peaceful Chevan Chehayas Mosque, followed by the Franciscan Church and the Hammam Museum. After soaking in Mostar's beauty, we drove 15 minutes to Hum Hill for panoramic views over the entire valley. From there, we headed southwest for about 30 minutes to Medjugorje, a world-renowned pilgrimage site, where we paused briefly to see Apparition Hill. Next, we drove another 20 minutes to reach Kravica Waterfalls, which is one of Bosnia's natural wonders. We paid €10 per person for the entrance and had an amazing time enjoying the fresh air and capturing stunning drone footages. We continued to the fortified medieval village of Pochete, climbing to the top of Pochete Castle for sweeping views of the Neretva River. Just 15 minutes away, we reached Blagaj, home to the mystical dervish monastery known as Blagaj Tekia, nestled beside the source of the Buna River. Entry here costs €2. In Blagaj, we enjoyed a delicious lunch of fresh trout by the riverside, paying around €12 each for the meal. By late afternoon, we drove about 2.5 hours northeast to Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Once in Sarajevo, we set out for an evening walk and visited the Sacred Heart Cathedral, Liberation Park, and the poignant gallery the 11th of July, '95, which had a €5 entrance fee. We also stopped by the Serbian Orthodox Church of the Nativity, then explored Gazi Husrev Beg's library and museum, both rich in Ottoman history with a combined entry of €3. For dinner, we savored mouth-watering cevapi at the famous Shelio kebab shop in Başakşehir, one of the city's most iconic food spots. We ended the night at Hotel Hent Sarajevo, where we paid just €62 for one night for 3 people, an excellent rest stop after another unforgettable day in the Balkans. Day 10 began with an early morning dive into Sarajevo's rich heritage as we explored more of the historic heart of the city. We visited the Vekil Harchova Mosque and crossed the Sheher Chehaya Bridge, then admired the grand architecture of Sarajevo City Hall. Wandering through the copper artisan street of Kazanjiluk, we passed the Bashchashir Mosque and the Ottoman-era Brusa Bezistan, where entry is just €1.5. We took a break at the Sebili Fountain, then visited the old Serbian Orthodox Church and the traditional caravanserai of Morichahan. At the Gazi Husrevbeg Mosque complex, we also stopped at the Clock Tower and Bezistan before entering the Jewish Museum and the Moving Museum of Crimes Against Humanity and Genocide, both with a €5 entrance fee. After a morning filled with culture and reflection, we left Sarajevo and drove north for about 4.5 hours, crossing into Serbia to reach Novi Sad. Once there, we took a relaxing afternoon walk through the vibrant city center and enjoyed coffee at a lively local cafe. The streets were buzzing with people, street performers, and evening lights creating a warm atmosphere. Later that night, we joined a traditional Serbian night at Lazan Salash, where we enjoyed live folk music and dishes like chorba, chicken stew, and Karageorgieva schnitzel. Dinner cost around €18 per person. The energetic music and cheerful atmosphere made this one of the most memorable evenings of our Balkan journey. After dinner, we checked into Arhiv Hotel, a stylish and comfortable stay where we paid €78 for one night for 3 people. Day 11 began with us exploring the cultural heart of Novi Sad, one of Serbia's most charming cities. We wandered through the old town, starting at the towering name of Mary Church and the vibrant Trg Slobode, or Liberty Square. Nearby, we admired the City Hall, the statue of Svetozar Miletić, and strolled down Zmaj Jovina Street past the Jovan Jovanović Zmaj statue. The Bishop's Palace and St. George's Cathedral offered architectural beauty, while Dunavska Street led us to the peaceful Danube Park. For a deeper cultural dive, we visited the Museum of Vojvodina and the Museum of Contemporary Art of Vojvodina, each with a €2 entrance fee. Other highlights included Trg Republike, Novi Sad Youth Theatre, the Serbian National Theatre, Pozorišni Park, and the historic Novi Sad Synagogue. Monuments to King Peter I and Yashad Tomic added a historical touch, along with sites like Hotel Sloboda and the Novi Sad Catholic Gate. We crossed the Liberty Bridge to reach the iconic Petrovaradin Fortress and wrapped up the Novi Sad chapter with a stop at the wine town of Sremski Karlovci. In the afternoon, we drove roughly 1.5 hours southeast to Serbia's capital, Belgrade. Upon arrival, we enjoyed an evening walk through the vibrant old town, soaking in the lively atmosphere and city lights. We had dinner and cocktails at the stylish jazz restaurant, located on the buzzing Obilica Venac pedestrian street. Our meal came to around €20 per person. Later that night, we checked into our centrally located Airbnb rental, where we paid just €53 for one night for 3 people, an excellent end to a full and fulfilling day. On our final day of this unforgettable Balkan adventure, we started by diving into the urban rhythm of Belgrade. Our morning began at the bustling Zeleni Venac farmers market, where locals traded fresh produce and lively energy filled the air. We continued through the slopes of Balkanskau Street toward the elegant Novi Dvor and Stari Dvor, the new and old royal palaces of Serbia. On the National Assembly House Plateau, we admired the grandeur of the Parliament building and then stepped into the Historical Museum of Serbia. Entry costs €2. Nearby, we paused at the statue of Nikola Pašić and took a stroll through the leafy park Nikola Pašića. Passing by the Terazier Fountain and the Terazier Theatre, we reached the heart of the city where the National Museum of Serbia and the Prince Mihailo Monument dominate Republic Square. The neighboring National Theatre in Belgrade stood as a symbol of Serbian culture before we turned into the cobbled Bohemian quarter of Skardalia. There, we enjoyed a traditional lunch at the legendary Dva Jelena restaurant, where grilled meats and local wine set us back around €18 per person. In the afternoon, we explored Student Park and admired the classical Captain Misha's edifice, now housing the University of Belgrade. We visited several small but rich museums, including the Ethnographic Museum, Vuk and Dorsete Museum, and the Theatre Museum, most of them charging about €2 to €3 per entry. From Varšek Palace to the charming Chocolate Museum and the Art Pavilion Sveta Zuzoric, Belgrade continued to surprise us with its variety. Then we reached Kalemegdan Fortress, the crown jewel of the city, where we passed through the Inner Istanbul Gate, Sarhat Tower, and visited the Military Museum. Entry costs €2. We also stopped at the iconic Victor Monument, walked past the Cultural Monument Protection Institute, and ended at Beton Hala, a riverside hotspot full of modern cafes. From there, we wandered into the historic Korsančiće Venac quarter, visiting the Cathedral Church of St. Michael the Archangel and the quaint Kornak Kneginja Ljubice. Before sunset, we relaxed at the massive Ušće shopping center across the Sava River, browsing shops and grabbing a final coffee. Later in the evening, we drove for 0.5 hours south to Skopje airport to catch our early morning flight back to Cyprus, hearts full and cameras packed with memories from 12 extraordinary days across the Balkans. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey through the Balkans, and we hope our Balkans travel guide helped you plan your own adventure. If you enjoyed this Balkans road trip video, please don't forget to like, comment, and share, and hit that subscribe button for more travel guides coming soon. And as always, if you have any questions or need more details about your upcoming Balkan trip, feel free to drop a comment below. I'm here to help.